Jalen mentioned that he had a little trouble sleeping just in anticipation of the playoffs. Do you feel the same way for his postseason as a head coach?
No, I didn't have trouble sleeping, but you can tell the group is ready to play. Yeah. The rest is needed and it's good, but at some point you start to get a little jittery and ready to play after this much time off and knowing what's coming up. So you can feel anticipation. Our guys are ready to roll, and I didn't think he would lose sleep, being this far into his career and be, the Eastern Conference Finals that he's been to, but shows the excitement of the group, and we're ready to continue doing what we've been doing so far.
At what point when Al comes in this season did you realize he's still close to the player he was before?
As soon as he was in the gym for open gym. Honestly, we had a conversation when I got hired, being that I was with him in Philadelphia, and he just said how excited he is to be back. And I think the year in Philly, it didn't go great. And then the half year in Oklahoma City helped him get rejuvenated. And so he was very focused to come in, and you could see it just physically from his body that he was in great shape. And then being a veteran coming back to this group, I think he was excited about that as well. So you saw it from day one in open gym, even before training camp.
The most important thing you brought back to this year and even for a series like this?
Consistency is, he does so many things for us on both ends of the court, offensively, defensively, but the leadership is one thing that he's going to always have. And like I said, the familiarity with the group, him joining back into the group, that's one thing, but we wouldn't be allowed to do what we do defensively without him and his versatility. A true four-man that can guard Embiid, Jokic, and those guys, but also switch on the guards is invaluable for what we're trying to do, and he's a big piece of that.
Hi, how important is it for your team to set the tone right out of the gate for the rest of the series tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's important to continue to be who we've been, which is, guarding at a high level. We don't want it to be a shootout. We know they have some tremendous scores, but we rely on that end every night. We want to get out to great starts for the second half of the season. I think we really improved as far as that. And so, it's not going to be one in the first quarter. There's going to be a lot of energy. So both teams are going to have to take punches and, react to runs and all those things. And so as much as we want to get out to a great start, it's not end of the world. They're going to go on runs at times, and we have to continue to do what we're doing. But we do want to set the tone and let them know who we are, which both teams know each other well. So that's just more of the same that we've been doing the second half of the season.
Hi, Coach. Just curious about, since this is your first official playoff run as a head coach, you've been around the greats in this league. What are some of the things that you've taken away from them that you think you're going to implement this run for yourself?
The first thing would be keep it simple. You want to simplify it for the guys, and you get much more in depth, obviously, and dig into that team specifically. But at the end of it, it's just basketball. And if you're doing certain things well all season, you don't deviate from that. So we'll have, I guess, A, B, C, D, E in the playoffs instead of A, B, C in the regular season. So you get more adjustments and more preparation time to look into their sets and how we want to guard certain guys. But for the most part, it's be who we are. And that's good enough. That's got us to where we are this year. Knowing that we're playing against certain guys and how we want to guard them, you have to have more, schemes ready. But for the most part, simplify it. We want guys to have a clear mind coming into the game, not overwhelmed by adjustments and things like that and trying to overcoach. So keeping it simple, less is more, is a good lesson for me that I've learned across around the way.
Have you kind of told some of the guys maybe at the end of the bench, or some of the guys who might get minutes, that with your adjustments they could play? Because obviously it's maybe even a half to half adjustment, but obviously the game adjustment in a 7-game series with the same opponent. Have you told guys like Aaron and some of those guys, hey, there could be times where I play X minutes in game 2 if you don't play X minutes in game 1? You kind of keep everybody sharp like that?
I haven't said anything specifically to guys about that. It's a message we've relayed throughout the season. And with the injuries we had early and the COVID situations, I think guys have done an incredible job of staying ready, trades as well. And take example of a guy like Peyton, who didn't play much when Dennis was here, and he continued to work and stay ready. So that's something we've stressed to the guys all year due to the circumstances we've been in. And, a message that I haven't said specifically to guys, but understanding what the playoff series is about and the adjustments and injuries and things that can happen. Everybody has to be ready. And I think our coaches and players have done a great job of keeping guys ready throughout the year.
Hey, man. Considering the talent level of Durant and Kyrie, how much do you stay in your usual switching scheme and how much do you have to adjust just to covering those two?
Yeah, you do both. And like I said, we rely on our defense, individual defense, kind of as our base. And, you know, we talked about it. Every team doesn't have a Durant, so you can kind of take teams out of things. Well, he's a guy that's going to make tough shots, highly contested shots, and you have to live with some of those and not get discouraged and understand what we're trying to take away and give up to the team. And so with those guys, as we've seen in the games that they both played, they've made tough shots, but if they can continue to do that all game is a question against all our defenders. That's the first piece. But at the same time, with all great players, you have to keep them off balance, throw some different looks at them, matchup wise and schematically. And so we're prepared to do that as well. But first and foremost is they got great offensive players. We got a great defensive team and individuals. And that's where the challenge will be within the series.
Talking about like your tolerance for when you decide you want to make adjustments and break from what you usually do. How did you figure out, I guess, what your tolerance is for how long you're willing to wait that out? And who have you talked to either over the years or even just running up to the playoffs for people that have experience as a head coach in those situations?
Yeah, a lot is time and score, you know, and so it's the battle that coaches always come up with is if a guy is really going off, but you're maintaining that 6, 7, 8 point lead, you're winning the game, but a guy is doing his thing and you're trying to figure out when to go after him, but you're doing well enough to keep the lead. That's always a kind of a back and forth as far as that. But like I said, it's been, whether it's been Luka or Trae Young and different guys throughout the season, I think us mixing up matchups, first of all, and then giving them different looks to try to keep you off balance because guys get in the rhythm, obviously way too easy in this league. They see something one time, they adjust to it, and as well as coaches. So with us, it's always finding that balance of if they're making tough shots, you know, something you're just going to have to live with. But overall, if you're maintaining that lead, that's the balance that you always seem to struggle with a little bit there. So we'll figure it out as far as that. We did some things late game against him in game 4 with Durant to take it out of his hands, and it worked well for us. So we have that in our back pocket.
Coaches usually will try to like hide a few things to break out in the playoffs, have a few rabbits at the hat. And like your predecessor was pretty renowned for that. Things like throwing Gerald Green into the series against Chicago years ago that flipped the series. Do you have like a few of those things that you're hiding in your back pocket?
Yeah, we do have some defensive things that we haven't done much this year that can obviously work against them. And so, like I said, go down the list of adjustments. That's it. That those are there. But we'll rely on what we do well first, though, before we try to get too tricky. Like I said, if they can continue to score against our high-level defenders, we can go to some things. But we're going to rely on who we've been all year, and that's what got us #1 defensively.
Wrap it up right there. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.